good day, everyone. We are back on Talk Football Live. Here to discuss the eighth quarterfinalist of the World Cup 2020, Qatar 2020. With me today, we have Ayo, Biodun, and Ola here to discuss. And my name is Charles, as you all know. We will be discussing the quarterfinalists, individual games, and also the teams, what we expect them to bring to the table. If there's going to be any upsets, what kind of results we're looking forward to, and of course, predictions for the semifinals. So let's start by, displaying the list of all the finalists and, see what we have to deal with. All right. So we do have a bit of the previous games for Netherlands, USA, Argentina, Australia, Japan, Croatia, Brazil, South Korea. And, those from England, Senegal, France, Poland, Morocco, Spain, and Portugal, Switzerland. Now, of course, we can see those results. But so going further, we're going to move on to the quarterfinals, and we're going to start with Netherlands, Argentina, which is scheduled for the 9th of December. Okay, so let's start with predictions. And, based on your prediction, you want to tell me why you're choosing that prediction. If you tell me Netherlands is going to win, why do you think Netherlands is going to win? What do you think Netherlands is going to do better than Argentina? Ayo, we can start with you.
So I personally have not enjoyed watching this Argentina team at the World Cup. Even though I predicted them going through to the semifinals, I have not been impressed with their style of play. They've struggled to score. We saw Saudi Arabia beat them in the very first game, and they struggled to score even from then on. Messi has delivered, he's come up with the goods. He got them through in their win, the 1-0 win. Was it the 2-0 win in the final game? And again against Australia.
It was actually 2-1.
2-1, yes. Well, I'm not referring to the Australia game. I'm talking of their qualification, right, in the group stage. So that 1-0 win, I believe it was Messi's goal, right? They had a 0-0 draw and I think a 1-0 win to qualify for the round of 16. And then again, he was the one who broke the deadlock against Australia. They tried with Lautaro Martinez. It looks like it hasn't worked out for him. He's been struggling this season in general, and he's still struggled at the World Cup. And they've turned to Julian Alvarez, who scored in that Australia game. And he's, every time he's come on or started, he's played very well, and we've seen him at Man City. We know he has the quality. I personally think this World Cup has maybe come a bit too early for him. I don't think he's mature enough to maybe lead them all the way to lift the trophy. Okay. You had in your prediction, Charles. I would expect them to still find a way through Netherlands. It's going to be really tight, but I think Argentina will come through.
What scoreline are you predicting?
It'll be a tight scoreline. It'll be either a 1-0 or a 2-1. I would maybe plot for 2-1 because I think Netherlands will also score.
Okay. Does anyone disagree or agree, or who agrees, who disagrees with an Argentina win?
I think I agree with Argentina win. What I do not agree with what I just said. Ayo made it look as if Argentina will probably barely survive that win. I am saying it on top of my voice, Argentina would beat Netherlands easily. Now, wow. Why did I say that?
Wow. So, you agree with Argentina winning, but you disagree with the scoreline?
Yeah, well, the scoreline will be 2-0 in my own prediction. And I think it's going to be not just 2-0, it's going to be an easy win for Argentina. I have my reasons. Argentina is they have a very good team. The problem with the team is I think they did not really gel well from the beginning of the tournament. You can see as they progress, they've improved. Now they know each other. They are playing a very good football. They are at the point where the morale is so high. The guy knows it. They know each other very well. But I think for the Netherlands team, they have picked. That's the best game you can get from them. They've already they have played their best game. For Argentina, there is room for improvement. So you see them as they go into the tournament more, deep into the tournament, you see them playing better and better. So on Friday, you're gonna see, or when there's a play, you're gonna see the best game you've ever seen Argentina played in a very long time. So it's gonna be a spectacular 2-0 win for Argentina.
Interesting.
Biodun, let's go over to you. I expect you to bring something spectacular. Biodun.
I wish I could just ignore everything I heard in the last 2-3 minutes, because I just did not completely disagree, but I'm like, sorry, where is that coming from? But I'll get back to that. Ayo,
Okay.
tell me your prediction again. What was your scoreline prediction again?
My prediction is either a 1-0 or a 2-1, most likely 2-1.
So
and I'll tell you why. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Argentina has scored 7 goals total in across all 4 games, and they've conceded 3 goals. They've had a lot of shots against opposition. They've had 58 shots in total and have scored only 7.
That's not a good statistics.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep that in mind.
That's about to affect Biodun's.
Yeah,
prediction.
no, not really. I mean, it doesn't change what I'm going to share. So I heard what Arya and Ola said. I think those are great points. I just don't know where that confidence in Argentina is coming from, because I think I've seen the same thing, and that's where I am worried. To be honest, I don't want to call it an upset, because Netherlands is not a small team. They are not underdogs. I think both teams are good enough to go to the next stage. So I won't call it an upset, but at this point, I would not be surprised if Netherlands pulls a stunner on Saturday, on Friday rather.
Friday, yeah.
I won't be surprised. Before the tournament, looking at the squad, I picked Argentina to go through. But seeing what I've seen, I think this team has not lived up to the expectation. And I'm not completely surprised. Now, Ola said something that we're going to see an improved Argentinian team. I think I've only seen 2 teams so far, actually 3 teams, that have improved game from game. And the Brazilian team, that is the French team, and that is the Moroccan team. Portugal has been underwhelming until the very last game.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if that is going to stay. And I don't know if that's going to be. So I can't really say they have been improving. That was just one performance out of the blues. So for that Portuguese performance.
And we all know why that happened, but keep going.
Exactly. Well, we can come back to that.
We'll get to the Portugal game.
We would like to talk about. But, going back, I think I will put my prediction at the very slim margin. And I think at this point, I am going to do the opposite, and I'm going to pick Netherlands or maybe a 3-2 win. I would want Argentina to go through, but I don't see that team playing better than the previous games that they did that. And I think they're going to struggle.
Okay, fair enough. You're playing an advocate by going the other routes. But you guys know me and Argentina. From the get-go, it's been Argentina all the way. I've been saying this is Messi's World Cup. It's going to happen. So just so you know, my prediction still stays the same. Coincidentally, I do agree with Ayo on a 2-1 tight game. It's going to be a very, very tight game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like Ola things, because of the same reasons, Ayo stated. Argentina has not been, they've not impressed. I personally haven't been impressed, but I still believe that sometimes the best teams don't win. The teams who come with the biggest mentality win. And those Argentines, they are there, they want to fight. They're fighting for Messi, they're fighting for the World Cup, whatever they're fighting for, it's showing. Now, Messi himself is fighting for himself and bringing out results. They're scraping results, basically. I think they can scrape it, and I'm going to stick by them. So, yeah, 2-1 for me, Argentina, tight game. Now, of course, I also love to see penalties. I love to see extra time just to watch more football, but I wouldn't predict that route.
So
it's not going to happen like that on Friday. It's going to be a 2-0 blowout. That's what I'm telling you.
Allah is so confident. Do you work at FIFA? Because
sounds like he's seen the future.
Well, see, I've watched many World Cup games in my life. I'm not saying I'm that old, but I have seen where a team starts a little bit underwhelming and they just they just improve as the game comes. What
I
I
agree with
see
you.
in this Argentina national team right now is a lot of experienced players. They are hungry. They've come with a mindset. They want to take back the trophy. I am not guaranteed that, because I think if they scale through this, which they will do on Friday, they're going to meet with Brazil. Brazil is not going to let them scale through, go past them. So that's where I think the end of road will come in semifinal.
So I don't completely agree with that. When you talk about hunger, I don't think Argentina has showed that hunger. And I think one of the most disciplined team that we've seen in this tournament is Netherlands. You might not like what they've played, but I think they have been so consistent and they've been showing discipline from the very first game. Watch the game against was it Senegal, right? Mm-hmm. That they won. They were disciplined. Senegal didn't take their chances. They took the chances, right? Against the United States, that was really the game for me. They played based on the strength of the opponents.
Yeah.
They did what they needed to do. They were tactically better. They were defensively better. Communication-wise, it was there. Everybody had an assignment. They knew what to do and they carried out the assignment. Now, Gakpo staying fit, Depay staying fit, Dumfries staying fit, that's a lot of problem for Argentina to handle. This Argentina is too slow for me. I don't know if anyone has observed that. They are too slow. The movement is not as quick as what you would expect from players that we know. And that slowness is going to cost them some issues, because Netherlands is going to sit back. They're going to rely on building and from the back, which is a counter, and beating them on the counter. De Jong is a very good player. He can see very well and he can throw those long passes. And we're going to have Gakpo pushing them wide and Depay doing the same thing on the other side. Otamendi is past his time. Romero, all these guys.
Hey, leave my guy. Don't talk about
just
Otamendi.
let us go back to the
Romero
last 20 minutes against Australia. That was Australia. Nobody knew them. I mean, these were the guys that were shaking and taking pictures with Messi at the end of the game, right? They were proud. It shows how young they are. It shows, how grateful they had to be on that scene, to play on the same stage with Messi. And they put up a fight. For you to pull up a fight on a country and a team that you respect so much, right? That's something. They gave Argentina L that last 15 minutes. That game could have gone into a 0-0 game and into an extra time. Into a 2-2 game, right? They just needed one more chance to draw the game. And they looked for it to the very end. It just didn't happen for them. So you are telling me that Argentina is hungry. You are telling me that they're going to do wonders. I'm sorry. Saudi Arabia stunned them, right?
Okay.
With Mexico until that very breakthrough from Messi.
Yeah.
That was a chance taken by a world-class player. I honestly believe that goal had not gone in, it could have ended up 0-0 against Mexico. Yeah. That's actually what I believed. But again, Friday is so close by. Mm-hmm. I don't see Argentina turning things around with these 2 days.
Okay. Good point. What I would say is, a team can be hungry but not play like they're hungry, which is, I think, you are not seeing the hunger. We are talking about, me personally, I'm talking about hunger that I saw in Copa America. I've been seeing in previous competitions before we even got to the World Cup. So when Messi announced that this is his final World Cup, I know that hunger is going to come in. Now, Netherlands is no slouch, so I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout like Ola is saying. I know Netherlands is probably going to put up a fight. And I know they're probably going to tactically try to mark Messi out. I expect them to do that. So Messi may not even score. But I still think the team can pull off something. There are guys on that team that, like Julian Alvarez that you mentioned, that they may not be the biggest names, but they got something in them. And that's that fighting spirit that I keep talking about. And maybe they will pull up something that the coach of Portugal did, surprise us with a new player. Maybe Dybala is going to start his first game, show us what it means.
I don't see Messi.
I'm not saying he's going to bench Messi. Maybe we show us how to play together. We've been trying to figure it out and we haven't. But I love your predictions so far. Three against 1. 3 wins for Argentina, 1 for Netherlands. So we'll see
let me add one more thing before we go. I said There are some quality teams I've seen in the World Cup, in the history of World Cup. They didn't start well.
Yeah.
France won it in 2018. How did they start? They started underwhelming in a way. They didn't have any serious number of goals until they got into the knockout period. Look at what they had with Peru. It was not a good team, 1-0. They beat Denmark. Denmark was actually goalless in group stage, 0-0. They didn't pick up until they started getting into the knockout stages. Now, what did they do in final in the history of World Cup? 4-2.
It destroyed
Croatia. They destroyed completely. That was not the same thing we saw in the semi-final, in the quarterfinal. So I'm saying for an experienced team like Argentina, you will see a different game come Friday.
If I'm not mistaken, did Spain lose their first game the year they won?
They did.
2010. They did.
They did.
Okay. So it happens. Okay.
So
no, I was just going to say, I think let's move on to the other games because we've bidden this one.
Go to Brazil, Croatia, which is a game we probably shouldn't be talking about anyways, but we're going to talk about it. You know, who thinks Croatia is going to win?
No, I
Nobody?
Disagree.
Biodun, not even you.
I mean,
they don't stand a chance. Not remotely.
You've seen one of the best performances of this World Cup from Brazil.
Yeah.
And you're asking me what, come on, man.
I still get that. So across the board, real quick, score lines.
You haven't seen any samba dance yet. You're gonna see it when Brazil starts dealing with
Brazil, Croatia. Sorry, who's going first?
Biodun, you can go. Brazil, Croatia. Go score line.
Brazil, Korea, 4-1, right? Brazil, Croatia. I think they could eat for a game. And I think it could be either 4-0, 4-1. I'll stick with another 4-1.
4-1. Okay, Ola.
I think it's gonna be it's gonna be a how do I put it now? It's gonna be hard for Croatia to even have up to 40% possession of that ball that day. It's gonna be a total blowout. Again, I say this because great teams like Brazil and Argentina, this is what they do in the World Cup. They just progress as we move towards the final game. Now, maybe Croatia can score one goal, but I see something like 3-0, 4-0, thereabout, as the score for that day. But
I think Croatia will score, but you still see 3-0. Which one is it?
No, well, Croatia might score one. If they do, that would be 4-1. If they don't score, probably 3-0. Okay, maybe like 3-goal margin. But I'm not looking for the scoreline. I'm just looking forward to that samba dance. I like watching those guys.
Will you be dancing along with them?
I don't know how to dance it. That's the problem. So I wish I could. I just love watching those guys. Very interesting. They made the game of soccer very interesting to watch.
I love the titi dance with them.
Yeah, Richarlison to teach you.
I love that titi dance along with his player. What a great thing to see.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Okay, Aya, what do you think?
Before I give my Brazil prediction, I think we're all yes, Brazil is going to win. I'm just going to say one thing. I'm confident Brazil will go through, and I'm confident Portugal will go through. The other two quarterfinals, I think, could go either way. So for the Brazil game, though, I will say I think it will be a tighter scoreline than you all are predicting. I think it will be maybe 2-0, 2-1. And I'll tell you why. Croatia has had a very tight defense across the World Cup. They are one of the teams who have considered the fewest at this level. Morocco has considered the fewest, by the way. Morocco has considered only one in their 4 games they've played so far. Croatia has
an own goal.
An own goal. Croatia has considered only 2. And the player who has covered the most distance in this World Cup is Marcelo Brozovic. That midfield works hard.
Yeah.
So I think Brazil will actually find it a bit more challenging to break through. With Korea, I think Korea kind of got disorganized as Brazil started scoring. They were compact at first, and I think they just started getting confused, and then Brazil just started going through them. I think this Croatian team is more experienced, and they will stay stead, even if they concede an early goal or concede a goal. So I think Brazil will find it harder to break them down, and I'm going for a 2-0 scoreline.
So here I am agreeing with you again. I was only predicting a 2-1 scoreline.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tight also for the same reason you mentioned. Croatia, midfield and defense, they've been working hard. I don't think they're going to stop because it's Brazil they're facing. So I say 2-1, Brazil is still going to take it. Actually, well, I'll stick to that. I'll keep that.
Yeah.
I'll keep it for the next one.
Gvardiol has been solid at the back for them, and Dominik Livakovic, I think, made some saves in their penalty shootout, right? So
exactly. So
they have a strong back line as well.
Okay, so far no upsets yet. Okay, so let's see when we go to the next one. Maybe someone's going to pull an upset for us.
It does look like
I think I already called. I think I already called an upset, right? And I was going to wait for my turn to speak to address that. So I think I already called.
He hasn't called it yet. Which?
No, he said he's confident that Brazil will go through. Portugal will go through. He said the other 2 games, he's not sure who will go through.
But he hasn't called it. So we're sticking with our predictions.
Yeah.
Argentina is not.
You're right. He called Argentina, but I think his mind is telling him that Netherlands could.
Let's leave him with his mind.
I'm going to come back to his first one. I just think he should be honest with himself.
Ayo, just feel free to change your prediction before this ends, okay?
So, of course. Yeah, my prediction for the Argentina game is not changing, by the way, but I wouldn't be surprised if Netherlands go.
Netherlands goes through. Okay. Yeah. All right, so moving on to the next one. It's going to be Morocco-Portugal. Morocco-Portugal. I think I should start this one. We've all been saying Portugal is going to go through. I want to call an upset in this game. I'm just joking. I think Morocco is going to.
Nice try.
I have the upset mind too, just to let you know. Yeah.
Say that one more time.
I'm.
That is mine is upset.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to drink some water.
We'll get to you.
Well, I'll wait.
I'm calling Portugal winning the game. 2 goals to nothing. 2-0. Morocco, they've done good so far, but I think it's the end of the road for them. And I also think same thing Portugal is fighting for. There's someone in there that needs the World Cup like they need oxygen. Same thing Argentina, is fighting for is what Portugal is fighting for. Although they may be benching him or not benching him, whatever, that's another story for another day. But I think they're going to fight. And if they were facing France or Brazil, I would say, okay, end of the road for them. But because they're facing Morocco, I think it's going to be, they're going to get through it. So I'll say 2-0 for that, for Portugal. Whether Cristiano starts or not, I think Portugal will take this. Ola, you were saying something, so maybe we should just hear from you.
Honestly, I think it's going to be a tough game for Portugal that day. And not just being a tough game for Portugal, I think there's a chance for Morocco to upset Morocco, to upset Portugal that day. It might be, we might have to go through the round of extra time and penalty kick again. But what I saw with Morocco that day was the defense wall was so solid. I'm not sure. It's going to be tougher for them as they play Portugal. But what I saw that day, they were very compact at the defense. So the way they play, if they can repeat the same thing, which I think they will do eventually, I think it's going to be tough. I see an extra time, a penalty kick, and Morocco making it through. Through penalty kick. That's what I think.
Morocco making it through.
Morocco making it through.
Say that one more time. Morocco
making it through penalty kick into the
through penalties again. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Biodun, what do you have to say?
We have an upset call.
I think that's going to be a very interesting game. And what's going to make it interesting is because Portugal gave a show yesterday. Was it yesterday?
2 days ago, I think.
2 days ago, right? They played, so far that's their best performance in this World Cup. Now, changes were made. So we could say because of the changes made, we could give the credit to the coach and to the player that came in, which was more dynamic than the forward that they had. This team already had players that were very, very mobile, right? We're talking about Bernardo Silva. We're talking about Felix.
Felix, yeah.
We're talking about Fernandes. These guys are very, very mobile. You now introduce the striker that is also mobile. That creates a problem for the back four.
Yep.
Because they move around, they shuffle around, they move around. So it's hard for you to mark them. The only way to contain them is just to be patient, maintain your shape, maintain your line. Whoever comes into your position, that's how you block. But if you're going to keep moving around, that is the whole goal, to shake you around, move you, make you come out of position, shake you so that they can create some goal. Now, I'm saying all that to say that is the test for Morocco. Morocco played a very good game against Spain. That is one of the teams in the world that knows how to hold the ball and have a very good possession. If you could do a very good job against Spain, obviously you would have the support of the entire world behind you. But here's the problem. I don't know if that match has given them fatigue. I don't know if they have enough days to recover from that very great game against Spain to play on Saturday. If they can fully recover and produce the same performance, it might actually go into penalty kicks, like you mentioned, because Morocco find it hard to score a lot of goals. Right? Now, if you're going to do that against Portugal, it's going to be tough as well to score that many goals. Now, are they going to block out many players like they boxed out Busquets? I don't know if they can do that to Bernardo Silva. I don't know if they can do that to Felix, because those guys will not stay in one position. They're going to move around. So it's going to be a lot of work for Nesri. And Nesri is going to have to chase a lot. So my prediction, if Portugal doesn't disappoint me, if they produce the same performance, I am sticking with Portugal because of the experience and the quality in those players. Not that they are better than Morocco. Morocco is a very great team, and I've loved what they've done, and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of them as an African nation. But I'm going with quality, I'm going with the experience, I'm going with players that are very, very dynamic and can make things happen. I think CR7 should stay on the bench. Actually, maybe just sit out the entire 90 minutes. Let us have the best on that very day. I love what that guy has done. He came into the game and produced a trick.
So are you ready for the tantrum?
Chances again. So I think it's going to be Portugal 3, Morocco 1, 3-1.
Fair enough. Aya, what do you think?
So first off, I'll just say, Biodun, I have the same scoreline. Portugal 3, Morocco 1. And I will say I'm very proud of Morocco. They proved me right, because when we looked at the round of 16, I said that Morocco-Spain game was where we could maybe see an upset. And, you know, they came through. A lot of people who maybe don't follow football or soccer enough would not realize that Morocco actually has a lot of quality in that team. They have players who play at the top level. You know, Roman Saiz in the back at Wolves. Mazraoui is at Bayern Munich. Hakimi is one of the best right backs in the world. And he plays at PSG. You know, and Neziri.
He's only second to Chelsea's Reece James.
I don't know if you guys remember 2 seasons ago, and Neziri had 18 goals in the Spanish league. He was hot property. All the top clubs were after him. You know, there's Ziyech, who we've seen at Ajax, you know, with Ajax going to the semi-finals of the Champions League.
Why did you say Ajax, not Chelsea?
No, because
dead in Chelsea.
I wanted to ask you that.
Hold on.
We know he's not the same Ziyech at Chelsea.
Yeah, we haven't seen that same Ziyech at Chelsea. So people who maybe follow football are more familiar with what he did at Ajax, and you know them getting to the semi-finals that year, along with De Ligt and De Jong and all the other talent they had there. So that team has quality, right? But I think against Portugal. And if you guys remember my bracket, I have Portugal going all the way to the final.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with Portugal for one reason. In the games I've seen, they are kind of like a machine. Okay, they haven't, up until the last game where, you know, they, Ramos came in and just blew Switzerland to shreds with his movement. But up until that game, every game I'd seen, and even I watched when they played Nigeria just before the World Cup, they weren't fantastic in that game, and Nigeria was actually bad, but they took their chances. They were just clinical, right? They don't do anything fantastic. They have a guy who, if I'm ever the coach of a major team, I would love to have a guy like Bernardo Silva on my team, because Bernardo Silva runs the field beginning to end. He's covered the most distance in the Portugal squad, by the way. He will drop back into defense and receive the ball from the keeper, help them progress the ball. And then when they're attacking, you will see he's already in the box, ready to control play again and look for opportunities. That guy is everywhere. So someone who is that dynamic, there's definitely no way you're going to either man mark him or box him in anywhere. You will lose your mind. You will you will be chasing your shadow the whole game rather than finding Bernardo Silva. So for that reason, I think they will create opportunities. I think the game will actually come a lot easier. I think people will be surprised at maybe how easy it is for them to break down Morocco. And I'm expecting a 3-1 win as well. Or maybe even a 3-0 win because yeah, I think Morocco might steal a goal. So I'm gonna stick with the 3-1 prediction for this game.
All right, sounds good. So we have one upset so far in all these predictions. Morocco beating Portugal on penalties from Ola.
That's right.
That would be wonderful to see.
Yeah.
But moving on, I think we saved the best for last. Best in my opinion, because we are fans of the English Premier League.
Yeah.
We always say it's coming home. So maybe it is coming home this time.
Oh,
yeah.
Hold on. Although none of us picked them in our brackets to win.
I just don't want you to put me in that category of we. I don't know who we is.
You're an Arsenal fan, bro. You watch the English Premier League.
I don't sing the song. You said
it doesn't matter. By that, being an Arsenal fan, you're a lover of the English Premier League. The word English is
no. Come on, man.
English.
Automatically,
You're trying to aggregate me. Come on.
I'm
not falling for that.
I can't let you go.
Can we let him sing that?
It's the end of England. I'm singing for England. It's the end of the road.
Like the team is coming home, not the cup.
Not the cup.
The team is going home. The jet to the park.
So for this one, I expect to hear some interesting prediction because I have an interesting one in mind also. But I'll say
maybe you should go first.
No, I think I'll go last. Actually, I want you to go first. What do you have for England, France, Biodun?
Oh my. I've said it from the very beginning. Again, I'm just going to jump into my finalist unless something happens, right? But God willing, everything works out as on paper that I think it's Brazil, France for final. And that tells you that I'm picking France to beat England. Okay. Now, it's funny because I spoke to a colleague today, a friend of mine, and also a colleague who is actually Brazilian. And he told me two things that I'm going to share. So first, he picked England against France. And I said, can you give me the analysis? Because we talk football, right? He knows the game. And he said, he calls me Abby, by the way. He said, Abby, I think it's going to be an England offense against a French defense. And he said that England offense could give the French national team defense problem. He said France has been covering their not so good defense with the attack. England is good at the defense because they can soak the pressure. And if they can do that, the offense is going to give a lot of work and they might steal some goals. And once they get the goals, they're going to sit on it, and he picks England coming out. Then he also predicted a Brazil-Morocco final. And I said, where is that coming from? And he said, that's what he wants, and he thinks it can happen. So he thinks Morocco can happen. And he said, as a Brazilian, I would be very, very delighted if Morocco, won against Brazil in the finals. And I'm like, wow, I don't see that for me. And I think Tite and the rest of the Brazil should disown you. That's what I told him. So back to my prediction. That was his prediction. I don't think England will make it through. I actually said something on the group chat. If you remember, it sounded like a joke, but it's not a joke. When I was saying Southgate should play Walker in the first 45 minutes and let Walker know that don't worry about playing 90 minutes. Just do your best for the first 45 minutes. Because Walker got an injury when he was chasing Vinicius. Guy, you guys remember that Champions League game? That was when he had his groin, right?
I know.
He got injured because he chased that boy all through the game. It was a good game for Walker. I mean, of course, we all knew that was the only guy in the Man City squad that chased that boy, right? Now he's going to face a similar player in Mbappe.
A better player.
It's going to
be faster, actually.
I am advising Southgate to play Walker if Walker gets injured, because it's also so Walker gets injured.
You mean when he gets injured?
We can sacrifice Walker for the first 45 minutes, then bring Trippier to carry on the challenging task of defending Mbappe, and Trippier can maybe last. He might not get injured, but he will do his best. Now, it's Mbappe to deal with, right? and there is Griezmann in the middle to deal with. And maybe that is going to expose Maguire finally.
Maguire will be battling
I don't
Giroud,
know
by
if
the way.
there's going to be.
It's about time.
I said he will be battling Giroud, by the way. Because Griezmann will drift all around.
Exactly. So Griezmann will deal with that. He's going to be thinking of Giroud while Griezmann is operating behind. So I just think it's too much problem for that defense to handle. Now, it's going to come down to confidence. It's going to come to maturity. It's going to come down to experience if England ever wants to go through. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's not impossible, actually. I see England going through by some chance, many playing a very tactical game. They don't care. They did that against the US. They didn't care what the media says. They just sat back, played their conservative game. They were after the result, right? So England could actually go after the result. They don't care what kind of game it's going to look like. But ideally, I am sticking with a France 3, England 2. 3-2 to France. I think it's going to be close, but I think England will have domination. They will score the goals. Goals will come from England as well, but I think it's going to be a 3-2 France.
Okay. All right. Can I go next?
Yeah, definitely.
I can. Well, all I say is that this is one of those areas I think I will agree with Biodun, because I just don't see how the English national team can contain the fluid attack of the French team. I haven't seen anything yet from, it hasn't done any special work talking about Walker, but I think he should brace himself. He's going to chase that little boy around the field that day. When I say chase him, that doesn't mean he's going to catch up with him. I think it's going to be a run for his life that day. I just don't see how they're going to contain those two guys on both flanks. It's going to be a tough challenge for England. Now, let's talk about the middle. The only thing going for Maguire is his head. He knows how to head. Now, he's going to be competing with Giroud, who is also a headmaster. It's going to be tough from all angles. So I see a game of matchups. Let's look at the matchup. Who are the people going against what? One-on-one matchup, it favors England more than, it favors France more than England. Mm-hmm. I don't see how, if they are the tactical super coach in Southgate, I would say maybe he can prove some stunt. I don't think Southgate has any answer to the French national team. So I'm giving like a 2-0 win for France over England. And it's just on matchup. The matchup doesn't favor England at all. So I think if French win is what I'm seeing, and it's not gonna be serious challenge from England, because I think when the goals come in the first half, that's the end of England. England will just be chasing around the field in the second half. Yeah.
Okay. So you said 2-0?
2-0. France.
2-0. 3-2 from Biodun.
Wow.
Over to you.
Wow.
I'm saying wow in my head. Also.
Wow. Can I abstain from calling a scoreline?
You know what?
It's part of the game. You have to.
You have to call a scoreline. But I was going to actually ask that question at the end, if I can just predict without giving a scoreline. I'll tell you why. But go ahead.
So like you said, right? Or like we talked about before, there's the head versus heart conflict at play here for me.
Yep.
My boy Bukayo Saka plays for England. I really enjoy watching Saka playing for England. I enjoy Saka playing. I've followed his career for a long time, and every season when you think he's picked, he shows me a new level of maturity. So I'm looking forward to seeing England in this game. I would say one thing that maybe a lot of people might not agree with. England has actually impressed me in this World Cup. And I'll say why. Because England always comes into competitions with a lot of expectation. And I would say so far they've delivered, if I may put it that way. They underwhelmed in the USA game because I think we expected more in terms of, and that speaks to the level of expectation that England has on them, right? The fact that it felt like a bad result that they couldn't come up against what was a very, very good US team in that game. They had the weapons to do it. So I think Southgate made the right changes in that game, bringing on Henderson and bringing on Grealish. I think there was one more left in Foden that he needed to. And I think he saw that. And in the quarterfinals, he started Foden against Senegal. And we could see the results. Senegal has a very good team as well, and the scoreline makes it seem like they made a mockery of Senegal. So when I look through the England team, they have a very solid team. I know we talk about Maguire a lot, but Maguire delivers when he plays for England. I don't think we've found Maguire wanting at the national level. He plays alongside John Stones, who has matured a lot under Pep Guardiola at City. At right back, I don't know who he's going to play, but I think, like Biodun said, whoever he plays, whether Trippier or whether Walker, that's where the joker is going to be.
Right.
So if we look at matchups across the field, right, they're gonna have Luke Shaw against Dembele. Oh my goodness, yeah, Dembele is gonna smoke.
Oh, by the way, now you just mentioned that Southgate played Foden. I guess the only reason he played Foden was because Sterling was out, right? That's why he started Foden.
No, not just that. I mean, he had Grealish. Grealish has been coming on the left, which is where Grealish normally plays, and he has Rashford.
It was a good thing, but I just don't think he made that choice because he's technically sound. I think he made that choice because Sterling was out.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
My point is Southgate is not a great manager. I'm sorry to say this.
So I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys something interesting, and this is more head fact than heart, right? England have scored the most goals at the World Cup, 12. They've also conceded one of the fewest, 2, besides Morocco, who has conceded 1. And for me, reading those statistics matches the quality that we expect from this team, which is why I expect this to be a very tough game. I expect France to go through, so I'm getting to my prediction now, having looked at the matchups. By the way, man, when I think about the wings and I think about who England have on the wings in defense, right back and left back. Yeah, when we look at the matchup of Dembele versus Luke Shaw and Mbappe versus, whoever gets to play on the right back, I think Kyle Walker has to be that guy, Biodun. And we don't know if he'll last 90 minutes, but he's going to have to spend a lot of time chasing Mbappe. I predicted France going out in the semifinals because I thought the midfield would lack experience. And I think England will dominate the midfield because I think England's midfield has more experience when you look at Tchouaméni and Rabiot versus the 3 that will play in midfield. I think Bellingham will start again alongside Henderson and Declan Rice. And I think those 3 will boss the game for England. So here's my prediction, having done all that analysis. I'm going for a win for France in extra time. It's going to be a 1-1 at the end of regular time.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Okay, so you guys,
I think Biodun wants to. Maybe you should let Biodun retort.
I just want to challenge some of the things I said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maguire has been great for England, no doubt, but we need to understand that Maguire playing for England is different. He plays with other players that know what they are doing, that are very serious-minded.
Exactly.
And he benefited from the midfield of Rice and Calvin Phillips in previous competitions. And now Ndesi, who is very, very disciplined. And you're talking about Bellingham that can drive the threat outside of the box into the opponent's final third. Mm-hmm. That's where Maguire sits. Maguire plays for Manchester United before Casemiro, nothing, right? And that exposes him, and there you see his weakness. Even when Casemiro comes in, we're still seeing fumbling. So I just want to make that distinction around who he plays with that protects him from getting exposed. It's all about the calls he makes for himself. And you see that. He makes some calls that are like, why did you do that? You're not under pressure. You're not under any threat. He's going to play an intense game against France. And I think he's going to be shaky. He's going to be too excited. And I think he's going to make some faults that would cost England some worries.
But
I can't wait to see that.
If I give your analysis back to you, though, so that says that Maguire is maybe not the problem, and he just needs players who understand how he needs to play. Because you've just said he does well for England, right? So if he makes faults, we should see those faults regardless of who he's playing with.
Yeah, so that's the point that I'm trying to make, right? When he makes those silly calls, those players
which we don't see for England.
Those players, exactly, those players protect him. If you look at the games that he has done so silly, he's very vocal and is the captain, and nobody corrects him. And I don't think anybody has that leadership, style to talk to Maguire to say.
Henderson could do
Is
that.
Maguire the captain or is Harry Kane the
He's
captain?
the captain of Manchester United.
Okay.
Plays, right? So I think sometimes they're afraid to even correct him or tell him or give him feedback. So nobody talks, right? Now, he does this on an English team that is a collection of the best, right? And these players get to the threats before Maguire. So Maguire doesn't have to launch and make silly fouls. Maguire will sometimes jump, even fouling his own teammates. Those are calls that you're like, are you under pressure? Why are you making this silly calls, right? Somebody launching it from the central into the very far right back or left back when your right back is also trying to defend. Those are silly calls that you make, right? Which you are not supposed to do. And it shows that how calm are you even when you are in the pressure cooker, right? That's what you see with people like Varane, right? Varane is not the best. Varane just makes good judgments. And he knows that he has the height and he can jump and he has the long leg. So he calculates, he makes that jump. Van Dijk will watch you, right? Will position himself. Even if it's under threat, you don't see it in his face. Maguire is very obvious. It's like, trying to show the boldness to cover it up, but it's not really boldness. It's like somebody under threat. So anyway, too much on Maguire. I hope it's safe and I hope it's covered and I hope he doesn't have to make those silly things. But I am worried because that entire back line will be threatened by Dembele or Conan or Mbappe or Griezmann. And that's where the game is. To your point, yes, if England can take over that midfield, because there is quality in that midfield. I love Bukayo Saka, but I just don't see him going through. Saka, you and I know that the best way he plays is support from the right back and from the midfielder. And that was what happened against the US national team. Jude Bellingham was not connecting well with Saka, right? And there was also a challenge with, Trippier. Trippier making bad passes to Saka. So if you don't have that connection going on that Saturday, Saka, Walker, or Trippier and Bellingham, then that's a loss to the English national team on that right side, and which will give the French national team to continue to oppress. And that's the same line that Mbappe is going to play with. So I see some challenges around that play against Saka. Saka will not do well on his own. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay.
He needs support.
I'll just say two things and then we'll take Charles. So one, from everything you said about Maguire, it sounds like Manchester United is the problem. Two,
let us skip that.
Two, I think Saka got better connection when Henderson came on, because what was missing in that USA game was, right, you play in triangles in football, right? And when you have one behind you, you need someone who is also in the middle forming that triangle. And that was missing until Henderson came in. When Henderson came in, there was a lot more dynamism on that right side. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. The other thing that I'll add finally to that right side is Mbappe was failing to track back in that last game against Poland. And before he scored those 2 goals, I don't know if you all remember, Deschamps was yelling at him to get back. And I think that might give Saka some opportunity. But over to you, Charles.
All right. So you guys, a lot of you said a lot of the points, the analysis I wanted to go through. But first, starting with Maguire, I don't believe I'm actually saying this, but I don't actually think Maguire is as bad as people make it seem. I think the heat on Maguire is exaggerated. It's extremely exaggerated.
A little bit.
I don't think it's as bad as people make it seem. Biodun disagrees.
Should we start reviewing clips now?
He has his errors, but I don't think he's
But I don't think he's on that level. Now, moving on from Maguire.
Sorry, I'm interrupting. I was just going to say, he's not at Van Dijk's level, right? I'm not going to put him on the same level as Van Dijk, but I don't think he's as bad as
people make it.
Senderos level. It's on Senderos level.
Senderos, no. Senderos level. But anyways, moving on from Van Dijk, from Maguire, I actually think, I'll start from the back line of England. I actually think Kyle Walker on the right, Trippier on the left, not Luke Shaw. Now, I think Kyle Walker can actually match Mbappe. I think he can actually match Mbappe. Now, would you do it for 90 minutes? That's where the tweak will come in. You can flip Trippier to the right in second half, bring Luke Shaw, a fresh Luke Shaw.
I'm even worried for him. I'm worried for him. I'm not joking. best player, the most experienced, the most senior that can actually deal with anybody with pace and experience.
Yeah, you're worried for Kyle Walker.
Can he last 90 minutes? That's the
I don't expect him to. That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
not sure.
Play him for 45, play Trippier on the left. When you take him out in the second half, flip Trippier to the right, bring Luke Shaw. A fresh Luke Shaw against Dembele may not be so bad.
Yeah.
Second thing, I'm saying all this before I even give my scoreline. The midfield of England, as you've all mentioned, is quality. What Bellingham brings to that midfield, the experience Anderson brings, and the grit that Rice brings, I think will be very, very, very useful in taking that game. Now, the wing play, individual matchup of Mbappe, Dembele, I actually think, based on what you said, England may have a upper hand with Saka and hopefully Foden on the left. I think England may have a upper hand because they are engineered to go to Mbappe. England has way more options. Forget about Harry Kane in front. The guys in the wing are dangerous. Bellingham from the middle is dangerous. I think England will play better than people expect them to play because they're playing France. And I personally think this may be the most difficult game to call. But my prediction at the end of the day is very similar to yours, Ayo. It's going to be a tie. It's going to go into extra time, and I think it's going to end in penalties. And I actually think England is going to win it. Wow. I know everybody's picking France, Brazil for the final. People have, but I actually think this is a game that will be a big. Morocco, Spain was a very big upset because of who Spain is.
Yeah.
England, France, I think Southgate's. Like I said, Southgate's we may diss Southgate, but I think he knows something. I don't think we're giving him enough credit. I think he's gonna hold on. I think he's gonna set up that team in such a way that Mbappe will be controlled.
He will nullify the threats. Yeah,
exactly.
I agree.
Dembele on the other hand, I have actually not been that impressed with Dembele, to be sincere. Now he may wake up in this game and show off, but I've not been that impressed with Dembele. Now Giroud on the other hand, as good as Giroud is, if you stifle the supply, Giroud can't do much, in my opinion. So if Southgate does his job, which I expect him to do, I personally think playing Kawaka on the right, Trippier on the left, if watching Kawaka, maybe give him 55 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever. Flipping that, solidify that midfield with that trio of Rice, Anderson, and Bellingham. And what's their names? Saka on the right, Foden on the left with Harry Kane up front. I actually think that team can take care of France. As solid as France is, I actually think it's possible. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw. Lots of goals, of course. Extra time. England takes it on penalties.
Wow. If I can jump in.
Pickford! Sorry, excuse
me. Are you benching Mason Mount again?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So it's going to be a midfield of Rice, Bellingham, and who? Anderson?
Yeah.
Okay. Just as he did against Senegal.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going with more experience and discipline midfield.
Who were the wing backs, right?
Yeah,
right,
even though I picked
it was Luke Shaw, though. Luke Shaw started on the left.
Who started on the right?
Even though I picked France,
and Kyle Walker started on the right.
I agree with you, I agree with you, Charles. England has as much quality to play against France, no doubt. I agree with you completely. They have that quality. The challenge is how they will play against France. And I'll also say this to the credit of Southgate. He's a very calculated guy. I don't like his style. I think it's too conservative for me. It's like somebody holding your horses, right? I think he has that firepower. He doesn't release it. Why he doesn't do that? I think his appetite for risk is so low. Yeah. And it's one of those guys that, he's a very calculated manager. And he will think about, let me just, not open up too much. And the reason is because he has the strikers that can deliver. England will convert their chances. Harry Kane will convert the chances. Rashford will make a counter if he gets the chance. Foden can run, Saka can run. That's why I called it 3-2, because I see England scoring. Now, I've watched England all my life. When England is under such pressure and people are thinking they will go out, that is when they put up the best performance. So I don't see France coming there and, embarrassing them with so many goals. The more goals France score, England would score. But I think France is going to go through. I don't know about penalties, but I think and I hope that France win this game in regular time. Because if it goes to penalties, I don't know what would happen.
Ayo, you're gonna say something?
No, I was just going to summarize what it sounds like we're leaning towards here. So Portugal and Brazil were unanimous in saying those two will go through. Although did Ola call an upset for Morocco?
I disagree.
Yeah,
No,
Ola
I think he called an
Called
upset on
for
Morocco.
All I
Yeah,
called an
except-
upset for everything except
No, that was the only
Except
one I
Brazil.
called an upset. No,
No,
that's
he
the
picked,
only one
he
I
picked
called.
He picked
Argentina.
Argentina.
I know I'm joking,
Yeah.
I'm teasing. Who
So-
picked Netherlands? It was you, Biodun.
Biodun picked Netherlands.
Okay. So Ayo, you and I agree on everything except England, France.
Oh, the only thing I think we didn't agree on was going to penalties. You said France
but
would
you
take
said
it on
France
penalties.
Both of you agreed on a draw.
Ah, right. You said England would
You
take
I
picked
said
the
it.
England would
1-1.
win.
Charles picked the
Yes.
2-2.
Okay.
Okay, so in every game, there's a standout. For Netherlands, Argentina, Biodun, you standing up for Netherlands. Croatia, Brazil, okay, that
Everybody agreed on Brazil.
one. Brazil. Morocco, Portugal, all I standing up for Morocco.
That's right.
England, France, I am standing out for England. So Ayo, why don't you just take Croatia? Balance the scale.
I felt some shivers.
I mean,
I'm not that
I
brave.
just say this, right? If Brazil lost to Croatia, I just want to return to Brazil. I think
Wow.
they should just apply for asylum. And I'm saying that is also.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that.
This is
It's
not
that
going
serious.
to be
It is that
acceptable.
serious.
It's
Croatia was in the final last.
It has, so I'll tell you guys.
not going
I'll
to
tell
be
you guys.
acceptable with the quality of the players and the kind of dance that they did. That was a better performance than Davido and Whiskey.
Roy Keane will have more to say,
right?
And
Roy Keane will have something to say, and I don't want Roy Keane to say Jack, right?
Well, guys,
some interesting things.
Than that dance.
Some interesting things. Brazil have not progressed, I think, past the quarterfinals since they hosted it. Their last, I think, 4 or 5 World Cups, they always make it to the quarterfinals and they go out at the quarterfinals.
Last time was Belgium that beat them out, right?
And to tell you guys how serious football is in Brazil, I have a couple of co-workers. My company has a lot of people that work in Brazil. My Brazilian friends, how serious it is. They will support any team that plays against Germany because they will never forget that 7-1 drop in that Germany gave them in the semifinals when Brazil hosted. That's how deep it is for Brazilians. So Biodun is right when he says the Brazilian team should not bother coming home if they lose to this Croatian team and go out. It's a big deal. It's a really big deal.
So I was gonna say the last World Cup they lost to Belgium in the.
I was trying to say something.
Give me 1 minute. I just want to drop this. So they lost to Belgium in the last World Cup, and are we saying we're not giving Croatia the amount of respect we gave Golden Age Belgium? Is that what's going on? Because Croatia they were second last World Cup. They were in the final. Yes,
what happened in the final?
But my point is, I still think they deserve some respect.
Look,
Charles,
every team in the World Cup deserves respect. But let's look at what's been happening to Croatia. Croatia hasn't played any. They haven't played up to that level that they deserve to even go beyond this level. They managed to win on penalty kick, right? The last time. If you look at the entire game, you look at these guys where they're peak. I don't see them. They don't even stand a single chance of playing that kind of draw in this game tomorrow or this weekend.
I'm just advocating for I'm just advocating for Ayo. I'm advocating for Ayo to pick Croatia.
Pick Croatia.
That's all I'm pushing for. I'm not going to do it.
Ayo, if you do that, trust me, I will just disown you completely.
So let me give an answer to Charles' question, right? You said, why are we not giving respect to this Croatian team, right? Like we might have done for the Belgian golden generation. So one, this is not a golden generation for Croatia, right? This is an aging Croatian team. There's barely any difference to this Croatian from this Croatian team to the Croatian team we saw in the final against France 4 years ago. That France team has evolved, This Croatian team, I haven't seen them evolve.
They've
Yes,
actually kind of declined. They've lost some players.
the fact that
right.
Ivan Perisic is probably still the best player they've had at this World Cup at 35 says something about the team we should be expecting. I'll give you another thing about this Croatian team. They haven't won any game. They've won one game this whole World Cup. Every other game has ended in a draw or the penalty win that they had in the round of 16. They've only scored 5 goals across all 4 games. So that's the team that Brazil is coming up against. It will be a huge embarrassment, and no disrespect to Croatia, but it will be an embarrassment if Brazil should lose to this team.
Lose to them. Okay.
So
Yes,
no,
it will
on
even
those
happen.
bases, there's
It will
no
even
chance of me
It
flopping
won't
for
even happen.
Croatia.
It
So
will
now what
even
are you
happen.
saying?
I say it will even happen for Brazil to lose, to even concede one goal will be difficult. I think they're
Yeah.
going to come all out to deal with Croatia. Look, I'm not disrespecting Croatia, but you can just look at the trend. This team peaked at that last game. They could not go beyond draw. Like I said, they've only scored one. They've only won one game, right?
Yeah.
How many goals have they scored? The penalty kick was just a game of luck for them. They won it, yes. No disrespect for them, but they stand no chance. Even if the second team of Brazil play against them, they're still going to beat Croatia. There's no way for Croatia.
Yeah.
They've come to the end of the road.
So I'm agreeing with you. I picked Brazil also, but man, what a wonderful chat we would have if Croatia wins this game.
Yeah,
We'll have to do a segment for Croatia.
it'll be spectacular. We would need to analyze what went wrong for Brazil and what went right for Croatia.
No, I won't even be part
Like
of
I
that
said in my
analysis.
prediction, it will be tight. I think it will be tight. I don't think it will be a washout, but I don't see Croatia with any chance.
Yeah. Okay. All right. On that note, I guess we've come to the end of this segment for the quarterfinals.
Yep.
We've all done our brackets. We know who we will have in the final. We know who we have to win it. We can just go around and say who we have to win it. No, I'll be jumping the gun now just to spice up this bracket and spice up this quarterfinal that we're looking at right now. I'm sticking with Argentina, as I've been saying. Now, feel free to change your mind. If you chose Germany at the beginning, like probably Biodun did, they're out. You have to change your mind and pick somebody else. So who would you be picking, Biodun?
I'm sure you're joking.
Yeah, mine always.
I'm sticking to my guns, man. Brazil, France for final. I pick Brazil because I think it's time for them to take revenge of France 98 and do the same back to France.
It's a long time ago.
It's possible I get disappointed. We'll find out on Friday and Saturday who makes it through. But hopefully, I worry about 2 games here, right? Brazil, Croatia, France, England. That's what I worry about. These other 2 games, I don't really care.
You're worried about Brazil, Croatia?
Right. Yeah, because I want Brazil, France in the final. Those are the 2 games I worry.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh, so you want to make sure there's no upset in that game. Got it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
so quick one.
You had Morocco winning in the final, right? For your bracket.
No, they are not going.
No. That was Biodun's co-worker.
That was Biodun's co-worker. I have
I'm
Brazil,
kidding.
France. I've been saying that on the chat for a while now. Brazil, France for final. I've been saying that for probably like a week now since they get out of the group stages. So I don't see how Brazil and France will not make the final. Those are the 2 teams that are going for the final. But who's going to win it?
I'll be cautious though. England, France worries me, but I'll go to France.
So before we go to Ayo, I just have a question for you, Ola. If you had to call it right now, Brazil, France, who would you give it to? If you must call it.
I'm tending towards Brazil, not France. Yeah, but it's all a bit tough. And I won't call it revenge of France 98. I think these 2 teams, they've had their own share of success in between then and now. So it's gonna be, I just want to sit down and watch a classic World Cup final. That's what I'll see for that final.
I'll tell you something that I'm seeing, and I think you see it. Maybe you are just not paying attention to it. It's not just the attack and the midfield of Brazil. The entire people, the way these guys play and celebrate and talk, look at the bench. Even when you are not playing, when you are not wearing, these guys are on their feet. I don't know if every time they show the bench of the Brazilian, it's like they've come to Qatar for just one thing, the trophy. Did you guys see the screensaver on Neymar's phone?
Yes.
Flashed it. the game he missed. The guy had the World Cup as the screensaver. That's how they dream about winning this tournament. So it will be a disaster if they went out against Croatia, number one, because it's suicidal. I'm just telling you.
It's gonna happen.
I won't even be part of that conversation to record because I don't know what I would say. I would be so shocked to come online to discuss how Croatia beats Brazil. But you know, a better loss would be, let's say Brazil is losing to Argentina.
Yep.
That makes more sense. But the point I'm trying to make is this team is well prepared. They've been preparing for this World Cup. They have the generation that lost to France in the stadium. We've seen Roberto Carlos. We've seen, the big Ronaldo, Cafu. We've seen all these guys trying to motivate and help them with however they can help them. Right now, that back line impresses me. Those are guys above 30 years old.
Yep.
And the way
they're still playing
and they are still delivering. You're looking at Thiago Silva. You're looking at Militao. You're looking at
Marquinhos.
Militao is young.
Militao is young. It's Marquinhos and Thiago Silva.
But the crop,
Marquinhos and Silva.
65% of all the defenders that wear the shirt, the guys are over 30. But the way they play and the seriousness they put into this and the discipline, it's what I like about this team. And you have a Casemiro that is as disciplined as anything. He's just going to sit down there. So when it comes to playing against France, I see that as an edge over Tchouaméni, even though because Tchouaméni is the future. Tchouaméni is now.
Yeah.
Now is Casemiro. Tchouaméni is the future. So Tchouaméni can learn from this. I like him, but I don't want him to carry the trophy. Rabiot is too going to enjoy the game, but he will struggle against England. And that's when you're going to see how I think Brazil will beat France in the final. Rabiot will be too slow for England, but I think they should still win.
Okay. Ayo, you're calling the final for Brazil?
Yeah, so my bracket still hasn't changed. It's Brazil winning the trophy, but a Brazil-Portugal final.
Okay. So nobody fancies Messi-Ronaldo final?
No.
Argentina is not good enough. I'm sorry.
Charles, you keep selling this thing. We are not buying.
That's going to be the most watched. It's going to be the most watched sporting event in the
Are you trying to insinuate that FIFA is going to do some wranglings to make that happen? Because otherwise, besides some dodgy referee and VAR decisions, I don't see it.
I didn't say it. You said it. But
I was just helping you verbalize what you didn't want to say.
Anyways, good segment, you guys.
Conversation.
So we look forward to what happens on Friday. It's just a few hours away, and I know we're going to be back by the end of Saturday. We're going to talk about the results. Maybe one of Ola's upsets will come true. Morocco beating.
I only have one upset, for God's sake.
I know. I'm just saying.
Just one upset. And it's going to be a goalless full-time game. Then we go into penalties. I still stick with that.
Okay.
But my guys they're just going to sit back. They're going to build the Arabian wall right there at the defense, and no one is going to cross over it.
Yeah, Arabian
wall.
Arabian African wall.
Well, Arabian African wall.
Not the Red Sea.
Arabian wall. Yeah,
not the Red Sea.
Wall. Not yet.
All right, guys, this was great.